New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello there. It's me. Yes, me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. How are you out there? I hope that today is a wonderful day for you. And if it's not, then you've come to the right place to be validated and heard. And hopefully, not hopefully, I know that you can receive some information that will help. So I just want to, let me get my I ams out of the way first. And you know what they say, that whatever comes after I am is what you are. So I am a human being right here on the planet with you right now, during these very auspicious times, and sharing the struggle with you. The struggle, the highs, the lows, the joys, just sharing life with you. I am also a grief coach. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a religious science practitioner and also a licensed soul collage facilitator. So that's me in a nutshell, along with other roles that I play in life. So I want to take this opportunity to just welcome you. Thank you for joining me today. If this is your first time, I just want you to know that you have come to the right place to start your healing journey from grief. Know that you're in the right space and will be held safely here this next hour. And for those of you that are returning, oh, welcome. I'm so glad we have that kind of a relationship now, that I am a regular that you visit, a friend that you visit on a weekly basis. And so wherever you are, and if you're in grief, and we all have experiences that lead us to grief. So why don't you just sit back, make this next hour for and about you. Grab a cup of tea, because I'll do a little intro before we get into our topic. Grab a cup of tea, some water, and just sit back, grab a pillow, get a comfy chair, and just listen. And why don't you drop a comment in the comment box just to let me know that you're here. A comment or a question is more than welcome right now. So with that said, I just want to talk a little bit about loss and grief. Knowing that loss is what we experience and grief is what we feel. And yes, death is the biggest loss. It's the most painful. It cuts the deepest, but there are other losses in our lives that cut just as deep. I'll put it that way. And to know that with these losses, then comes grief. And grief is what you feel. You know, that sadness, that numbness, lonely despair, confusion. Those are some of the things that can come up for grief. And that's what I want you to know, that this is all normal. And our losses, can show up, can just show up in, divorce is a big loss, a geographical move, changes in your health. There's something that is referred to as disenfranchised grief. And those are those types of losses that we have that don't get validated by society. There's that big one, pet loss. Your precious animal dies, and what people will often say, "Oh, you can get a new bird, you can get a new dog, you can get a new cat," but that is not true. That is a loss that needs to be mourned. How about the death of an ex-partner that you've not been with, not maybe 20 years, and you hear that they have died? That can put you in grief. That's a chapter of your life that has closed. And you may not get that recognition or sympathy that is needed from our society. So, yes, just know that there are so many types of losses that then put us into grief. And that's what we're here to discuss today. My goal, my mission, my purpose with Your Doula for Grief is to bring grief out of the shadows of our lives and right smack dab in the middle. Because grief is our biggest teacher in life. Grief is the thing that teaches us the most. Grief really transforms us. You cannot go through grief and come out on the other side a changed person. A changed person. So many people, and myself included, come out on the other side as a wiser person, a more expanded person, a more compassionate person, a person that has discovered gifts about themselves, gifts of creativity that had not been acknowledged. So know that grief, yes, grief does transform us. And know that grief's superpower is healing. You need to heal it. You need to feel it to heal it, because you cannot heal what you cannot feel. That just goes hand in hand. You cannot heal what you cannot feel. So if grief has come up for you today or in these last few weeks, maybe it's something very, very old that you thought, oh my goodness, I know I thought I had moved through that and I was over that. It's like, no, it has come up because now is the time that you can heal. So now that you can feel into it, you will be able to heal it. So just want you to know what loss and grief is, hand in hand, ball and glove that go hand in hand. And I would like to we are the day after Mother's Day, so if Mother's Day has been difficult for you, know that you have my deepest sympathy, condolences with that. And yesterday is yesterday, and what you have is today. So today, be kind and gentle with yourself. If yesterday was a difficult day with Mother's Day, so many people have difficulties with Mother's Day in different ways, maybe wanting to be a mother and not able to be a mother, or having had a child die and you're a mother. You've lost your mother, or your mother's alive and well on the planet, but you're not in a good relationship with her. So just know that this is an opportunity to be gentle with yourself. I love that practice of how would you mother yourself? What is it that you need to feel mother? So think into that and do that and give yourself that gift of self-mother. I also want to answer a question. I received a letter and I did answer that letter, but I thought this would be a good place to maybe start the conversation before we move into our theme today. But I received a letter from someone that wants to be able to help a family member move through grief, the loss of a child. But how can they help that person on this grief journey? And here's what I say: the most important thing that we can do for anyone that is in grief is just to be there for them. Be there for them without words, because I want to say this: there's probably not anything that you can say that will make them feel better, that it will suddenly erase the ache, the yearning, the loneliness, whatever it is they're feeling. It's not going to, words are not going to do that. The most important thing that can help with that is your presence. Never underestimate the power of your presence with being with a griever, a mourner, or a griever. The power of your presence, that human feeling, that connection from human to human. That's what happens. And I love the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh always says, the most important words that you can say to someone is that I am here for you. I am here for you. And when you say that, only say that if you can really do that. If you can be with someone who's in grief and not move to try to fix it or change it. If you can really be there with them, say that and do that. And we'll talk a little bit more as we go through our Mourner's Bill of Rights of some other things. And please, 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 I know we want to help when we give the cliches of, like, it's God's will, they're in a better place, they're not suffering anymore. It's a guess. All that's true, but maybe you're not in a better place at all. So let's try to stay away from those type of cliches. And as I said, what you can say is, I am good for you. Just that, yes, this must be hard for you. Or you can always say, I wish I could say something to make you feel. That is a truth. That is a truth. I wish I could say something to make you feel better. But I'm going to sit here with you. So I offer that to the person that wrote in, and I did, as I said, respond. But I thought I'd take a moment to just address that. And I just applaud that person for their compassion and kindness for their family member, to want to be able to help, to take pen and and write it. And that's our society, unfortunately. We weren't taught how to do it. We weren't taught what to say or not say. We were told, I bet, don't bring it up, you don't want to make them sad, or don't say anything you don't want to upset them. So we're learning now. We're learning. I love Maya Angelou when she says, when you know better, you do better. So we're all learning. We're in this place of learning and starting anew and starting fresh. If anything, 2020, really opened our eyes around grief. And so we're still learning. We're like the toddlers. We're just kind of wobbling along and trying to get our bearing and our footing and getting comfortable with the conversation of grief. So thank you for indulging me in that listening. And you're just talking about transcendence. Look, sounds like today our topic around loss and grief is death of a loved one. So we'll keep it in that thing, but knowing, I've already said that other losses we encounter that can put us into grief. And it's been a long time since I've read this by Ayanna Van Zandt, and she just has a lovely little couple paragraph quote around grief. And as I said, grief does transform us. Grief does transform us. So the title of this piece is Transformation, and it starts with, those who don't know how to weep with their whole heart don't know how to laugh either. And that's Golda Meir. When we lose a loved one to death or end a long-term relationship, it is perfectly normal to grieve. We must honor and recognize each stage of the grief and every emotion that we have. There will be shock, denial, anger, confusion, fear, helplessness, numbness, and then eventually acceptance. It takes a while to get there, but yes, there will be a point when we do not know what to do, but we want to do something. At that point, when we do not know what to do, but want to do something, it is at that point we must understand and accept there is no God. There is not an end. There is only transformation. Our loved one now exists in a new time, a new place, a new reality. And so do we. The relationship as we knew it has been transformed from the physical to the spiritual, from marriage to separation, from loveship to friendship. It has not ended, it has just changed. When we allow ourselves to grieve, we release the negative thoughts and emotions that make it easier to accept the change. We release what has been the resistance to accept the change when we grieve. And when we do not grieve, we get stuck. Grief is natural and normal and to be expected. We owe it to ourselves and to the memory of the relationship to cleanse our soul. And she encourages us to use this affirmation. I will take the time to grieve and prepare myself for the change. So that's Ayala went down from Exit. Just love her love. So we're taking that in, and taking it to heart. And what I'm going to take to heart is a beautiful, beautiful friend that's out there. Her name is Megan. Just want to give her a big abrazo. She says hola. And hola right back to you, Megan. And thank you for watching. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm looking at the time, everybody. And so why don't we just take a commercial break? We're going to take a little break, come back. I am going to, our theme today is a Mourner's Bill of Rights. The Mourner's Bill of Rights. So I'm going to take a little break and come back and just dive headfirst right into the Mourner's Bill of Rights.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
Hello there. Am I there? Hello, I'm back. So, as I promised, we are going to go through the Mourner's Bill of Rights. So, why don't we just get started? Here's what I'll do. I'll just go through them and then I'll go through them one by one individually. So, a Mourner's Bill of Rights, and it's written by Alan Wolford. And the first thing, just listen, then as I said, we'll go through and do one by one. So you have the right to experience your own unique grief. You have the right to talk about your grief. You have the right to feel a multitude of emotions. You have the right to be tolerant of your physical and emotional limits. You have the right to experience grief outbursts. You have the right to make use of ritual. You have the right to embrace your spirituality. You have the right to search for meaning. You have the right to treasure your memories. You have the right to move towards your grief and So those are the Bill of Rights in just a nutshell. But let's go and let's just take them one by one. And let's just first start with, what is a Bill of Rights? And we all know it from our Constitution, American Constitution, but there are other countries that have a Bill of Rights. And it's just a document stating in a very formal way what your rights are. As an individual of any country, you have that summary of your fundamental rights and privileges that are guaranteed to you, and that they cannot be violated by the state of the country that you live in. So there's a little noise outside. I thought I wouldn't try to compete with it in the moment. But anyway, the idea behind this creation of the Bill of Rights by Alan Wolford is that every person has rights. And he has extended this to include mourners. So he named the selection a Mourner's Bill of Rights. And every person has the right to grieve and mourn in their own unique way. The main point is that no one has the right to expect you to behave any different. I always say too, and Bell Hooks says it better than I, that we can't grieve in isolation. So therefore, when we reach out to others, that because we want to do that, reach out, because we're social creatures. That is how we feel. And sometimes in reaching out, we can kind of be steered in a direction that's not the best for us right now. So what I'm saying is, when you reach out to others to share a grief, there may be times when some suggestions made by others may not be helpful. And sometimes the responses may be downright hurtful or harmful. If you can, forgive them, because we don't have classes or courses on grief etiquette. You have the right to grieve without criticism, shame, or judgment. And so my goal in sharing this Mourner Bill of Rights with you, my goal with sharing this with you is for you to establish within you a sense of control and empowerment as you navigate these choppy waters of grief. Grief does rob us of that sense of control. So with that, I say, yes, let us be in control. I'll enlighten you as to what those rights are. I see that Megan, she's finding the Bill of Rights beautiful already. So thank you, Megan. And when you're on the show, you can let me know exactly which right spoke to you the most. So why don't we get started? As I said, the first one, you have the right to experience your own unique grief. You have your own unique way of grieving. Therefore, when sharing your grief with others, do not allow them to tell you what is the right way or what is the wrong way to grieve. Be in your own power with grief. It's hard enough to grieve or be in grief, and then to be told that, oh, that's not right, or you should be over it, or all those things that we can hear. But I'm going to keep it in the positive, okay? So you have the right to talk about your grief. Talking about your grief is vital for your healing. Be with those that allow you to talk about your grief as much as you need to. There will be times that you do not want to talk about your grief. And if so, your silence is to be respected. This is also a right to remain silent. Is that the Miranda? You have the right to remain silent. What you say can be used or held against you. But in this case, you have the right to be silent. 3 is you have the right to feel a multitude of emotions, and I guarantee you will. Confusion, disorientation, fear, guilt, and relief are just a few of the emotions you might feel as part of your grief journey. Others may try to be in judgment of what you're feeling. They may want to tell you that what you're feeling is right now is not right. Please don't give this credence. Just don't give those comments credence. Seek out those that do listen without judgment or criticism. And number 4, you have the right to be tolerant. Listen up, this is important. You have the right to be tolerant of your physical and emotional limits. Grieving can be exhausting. Allow yourself periods of rest and relaxation. Listen to your body. Be aware of what you're also putting in your body. And please, please don't allow others to push you into activities or events that you're just not feeling into and ready to participate in. And know that this type of, I'll use the word encouragement coming from your friends, it's because they do want to help. They do want to help, but only you can be the judge of where you are and what you're feeling. So just know, yes, that a part of this grief process is listening to your body. Grief is very, very, very much a physical. And number 5 is you have the right to experience grief outbursts. Okay, listen up. Sometimes out of nowhere, a powerful surge of grief may just come and overwhelm you and leave you feeling just, oh my gosh, exhausted. Feeling, and it's such a shocking thing because it came out of nowhere. And it could be frightening, leaves you like feeling off center. It's like, where did this come from? For instance, you could be listening to a song or looking at a beautiful sunset and suddenly have a rush of emotion around the loss of your love. And I just want you to know that this is absolutely normal and natural. Even though it may be frightening and unsettling, just know that it will pass. Just know that it will pass. Find someone who understands and will let you talk about it. And this is where I recommend you having a grief buddy. Okay. I call it grief buddy, someone who has agreed, of course, to be available when you are in need of emotional support. Have them on standby for just such occasions. And a grief buddy can just serve so many roles. Like that person that can be there when you're having these, overwhelming outbursts of grief or overwhelmed by it. And not only that, maybe you don't want to go to activities or events alone. Maybe you were in a partnership and you always went with your partner and you just don't want to do things alone. That can be your grief buddy. Or if you know that you're going to an event and you're going to need an out, if you need to get out, you're going to need a strategy. Your grief buddy can help you plan an exit strategy. Your grief buddy can be that person that calls you on the phone in the middle of that lunch to say, hey, are you ready to go? We can exit. So they are just that. They're your buddy. They're to help you through difficult and challenging times. Nothing like, really, if you think about it, there's just nothing like friendships in all of our situations. Even the highs, when you have something you really want to celebrate, nothing like having someone to call and be enjoyable. So these are the first 5 of those rights. And in the first 5 rights, I hope you're becoming aware of how this is geared toward normalizing your personal emotions and feelings, giving you permission to breathe in the way that is natural for you, honoring you as a unique individual, validating right where you are in your grieving process. Know that it is your right to do what feels right for you in the moment. And my 3 pillars of healing from grief in these first 5 rights, It's being affirmed that grief needs to be heard, grief needs to be validated, and grief needs to be shared. Meaning that you need to talk about it and have someone really hear it. You need to have it validated to say, oh my goodness, yes, Megan, I can see how that would be just absolutely horrific and devastating. And we'll just keep using my sweet friend Megan. Megan, yes, Megan needs to share her story with those that are listening or that will listen. And two, knowing that people have to earn the right to hear the story. And lastly, no one has the right to dictate to you otherwise. These are your first 5 rights. And as I said, emotional. Just validating your emotions and knowing that you're entitled to. So just to let these words sink in, I think we'll just take a quick break. And after a break, I'll share with you the last 5 rights, which will further enlighten you on your human rights as a griever or mourner. So we'll take a break and come right back. Hi, this time I'm ready. I'm here waiting for you. Last time after last break, I have my little script like right in front of my camera and I couldn't see that I was back on. So I apologize. I know better now, so I am all set. And well, why don't you just take a little stretch because we've been listening here for a little bit now, over half hour. So sometimes our listening skills or abilities kind of start to lose. Just a little stretch. And we'll come back to the last Bill of Rights. So the last 5 are, the first one starts with, you have the right to make use of ritual. Rituals are powerful tools for starting the healing journey. The funeral is a ritual that acknowledges the death of your loved one. The funeral brings those that are close to you together in a very loving and supportive way. Embrace this ritual for the healing ritual that it is. After the funeral, you can continue to create your own personal rituals. This gives you the right to honor the memory of your loved one at any time that feels right for you. And rituals really have that way of restoring a sense of control over a situation that has left you feeling out of control. I mean, and rituals are just so ancient. I did some research for an article on ritual. I couldn't even find anything that says how ritual started, the beginning. It was all about rituals have just always been here, always a part of our cultures. And what I want to say about ritual, it does give you back your power. And you can create your own ritual for whatever it is that you need. If you're honoring your loved one, you can create the ritual, opening it with a bell or a chime. You can have incense, you can have candles, you can have flowers, you can have pictures of your loved one, you can have something from the earth, earth, wind, and fire, something to honor all of the elements. That is the beauty of ritual, that it is so personally you. It speaks to you. You can even have readings that you love. I love clipping quotes and readings. You can incorporate that in your rituals. And what I want to say about ritual, I'll take the time to say that here. If you are creating a ritual for yourself around a loss, to honor that person or to honor whatever it is that you lost, or to bring yourself back to an even culture, is that if you're going to have a ritual, here's what I recommend. Have a part that allows you to have a definite opening, that you're opening the space for your ritual. And whatever it is that you do in between, that is beautiful. And have a part that closes your ritual. That closes it. That gives you that nod that yes, now we're complete. There's something about having an opening and a closing that really encompasses the feeling of having a ritual. I know when I start a ritual, I always light a candle. And what I say when I light that candle, before whatever the other things that I'm going to do, I always say that this light is to put the universe on notice that a ritual is coming up to be blessed, or that prayers are coming up, to put the universe on notice that the prayers are coming up. And then when I close the ritual, I end by snuffing the candle at the very end. And I say when I do that is the universe saying prayers have been received, accepted, and now being worked on. The magic of those prayers, the magic is beginning to happen. So for me, lighting it is prayers going up, and snuffing it out is yet prayers have been received. So anyway, that's me. But you do you in a ritual, whatever speaks to you, knowing that it's your ritual. And as I said, opening and closing can give it a sense of completeness. And you can do whatever you want in the middle. The middle part is all yours. So that's ritual. Okay? And number 7 is you have the right to embrace your spirituality. If faith is a part of your life, this can be invaluable to your ongoing healing process. I'll read it again. If faith is a part of your life, this can be invaluable to your ongoing healing process. Please express it in ways that seem appropriate to you. Surround yourself with others that share your beliefs. If you feel angry at God, find someone to talk with that won't be critical of your feelings of hurt and abandonment. And that sometimes, I think I said that early on, that yes, in sharing our story, we have to realize that people have to earn the right to hear our story. And you need to know who can be in your corner or who does not share whatever your beliefs are. Don't impose it on someone who doesn't have that. Find someone that does. It makes it easier. It'll make it easier for you to do the sharing because you'll be coming from that same frame of reference. And it's so much easier to be accepted. And so that is to embrace your spirituality. And number 8 is you have the right to search for meaning. You may find yourself asking, why did he or she die? Why this way? Why now? Some of your questions may have answers, but some may not. And watch out for the cliched responses some people may give you. Comments like, it was God's will. Or think of what you have to be grateful for, are not helpful, and you do not have to accept them. And that's what I said, especially to the to those that want to support the mourners, that you want to be there with them every step of the way, or you want to be there for them. The statements like those are not. As I said, some that are helpful is yet, yes, that must be difficult for you. Or yes, I can see how you could feel that way. And please try to avoid, don't feel that way. That's really not helpful. But allowing them to have their feelings and saying like a nod of a yes to those feelings. Okay, so number 9 is you have the right to treasure your memories. And this is sweet. This is a sweet one. It's not even like, it doesn't even need to be stated, I feel, but yes, it's stated here. Because memories are one of the best legacies that exist after the death of someone loved. You will always remember them. Instead of ignoring your memories, find others who can share them with you. It's nothing like being in groups of like-minded people, not like-minded people, but people that knew your loved ones, or like I get with family members and we can talk about our Aunt Emma. Remember when Aunt Emma made the best cornbread dressing in the whole world, and she wouldn't give you her recipe, and oh my goodness, how we all wanted it. Just to be able to laugh about things like that. You know, my sister, who's gone now for the last 3 years, I still have great memories and laughing when we were in Hawaii and it was dark and we really couldn't see, and we were going to this fancy restaurant and we thought we were turning onto what do you call that, an apron? That's a driveway that takes you up to the restaurant. But instead we were turning on the grass and we got everybody's attention in the restaurant. It was a high-end Tom Selleck restaurant. And I still remember how we both were like shocked and horrified, but then we just burst into giggles because we looked like, you know, country bumpkins coming to a high-end restaurant, driving up on the grass. So to be able to share that with someone is just, it's just wonderful. My family members that know my sister would say, yeah, that sounds like something she would do. So like I said, instead of ignoring your memories, find others who can share them, who you can share them with, and who may have their own wonderful memories of the same person. And then number 10 is that you have the right to move toward your grief and healing. Reconciling your grief will not happen quickly. And no, moving through grief is never a quick process. And also remember, grief is a process, not an event. Be patient and tolerant with yourself and avoid people who are impatient and intolerant with you. Neither you nor those around you must forget that the death of someone loved changes your life forever. So it is about being gentle with yourself. And I do want you to know that I know that it is a painful process. I myself have gone through multiple losses of loved ones, and it is a process. And also know this too, that when a new loss happens, it can bring memories and stir up all the other losses that you've had. And that's not uncommon. And what can help with this is just to know that it can happen. The awareness around it, knowing that it can happen. Then that won't take you, it could still shock you, but then you can go back to, oh yes, I've heard this can happen, and know that. So I just want to say these last 5 Bill of Rights affirm that it is in fact okay to use ritual, spirituality, to search for meaning, and to treasure your memories. Do whatever it takes to heal your grief and move forward with your life. So in my sharing these Mourner's Bill of Rights, I pray that they have given you permission to grieve and accept your way of grieving. Allowing your grief to feel natural and normal without judgment, shame, or guilt. Taking back your power in a situation that has left you with a sense of loss of power and not feeling in control. You are now given the right to be in control of how you're responding to this painful and difficult situation. You can unapologetically be yourself in your grief. And I want to add this is that at any time during your grieving, you feel unable to move forward, paralyzed or stuck, this is the time to reach out for professional help. Believe me, there is no shame in asking for what you need. There are times in all of our lives we're grieving. While we're grieving, we may ask, will this ever end? That's why getting help from a grief coach or counselor may be just the shift in perspective that you need to continue the journey of recovery. And what I ask you and leave you with is please continue to be gentle with yourself as you move forward with your life. Just being gentle. No, I mean, yeah, I should be, or this, just be gentle with yourself. Accepting yourself right where you are. And so those are our mourners' bill, the mourner's bill of rights. Having the right to experience your own grief. Do you have the right to talk about your grief? Feeling a multitude of emotions, you have that right. You have the right to be tolerant of your physical and emotional limits. You have the right to experience grief outbursts. You have the right to make use of ritual. Embrace your spirituality. Search for meaning. Treasure your memories. And then moving toward your grief and healing. So I thank you. I thank you for taking that in, knowing what your rights are. I want to, in this segment, before we talk about other things, from this little book that I love. It's by Julia Cameron. I know Julia Cameron, very famous for The Artist's Way, if you know The Artist's Way. But she has this, it's a sweet little book. It's just little, I love using it. The title of it is Life Lessons, 125 Prayers and Meditations. Okay? And I'll read this. Each prayer or meditation is just very short. You see? It doesn't take a lot to get through it. And this one is number 46 in this book of the 125. It's like mourning one, meaning the grieving one. You have lost a beloved. At least that is how it feels to you. In reality, your beloved lives on. Death is but a portal to a new and expanded life. Life survives death. You can make contact with those who have passed beyond. You can make contact with them. Take a pen in hand. Address a loving note to your beloved. Listen for a reply. Loving words will come to you. Your beloved loves you still. So I think that says it all, that you are still loved by your beloved. Love never dies. Love never dies. Just transformed in another way. And I do have a question for Megan. It's like, what about those that don't want to move forward? And thank you, Megan. That is a beautiful question. I'll just give you a brief synopsis of what that could be. But of course, each person has an individual reason for not being able to move forward. And Megan's question was, what about those that don't want to move forward? Sometimes in grief and grieving, it's very common that people feel that if they don't move forward, that if they move forward with a happy life and still having some sadness, but moving forward, it's a sign that they didn't love their loved one. Staying in that grief place means that I really loved them, him, her, I really, really love them, and therefore I'm just suffering through this because if I move forward, it means I didn't love them as much as I said. And so that has to be examined. Another one, when people can't move forward, not just don't want to, but can't move forward, or what prevents them from moving forward, is they're really trying to find a meaning, trying to find a purpose as to why did this happen? Why? I need an answer. I need to know it's because I did a bad deed 100 I did a bad deed 20 years ago. I'm being punished. Why did this happen? So those are the major two reasons, Megan. But each person, and another is that sometimes in the way that we have lost our loved one can really trigger or aggravate old wounds that have not been identified. You have an old wound or a trauma that has been unacknowledged and not identified. And that's when I say you need professional help when that happens. Because when we're talking about unearthing or realizing old wounds that we were not aware of, we don't have any tools to work with that. It's totally new. Plus, on top of this, loss. So that's where professional help can come in. When we're trying to find meaning or our old wound or unidentified wound has been triggered, or when we feel that to really show our love for our loved one, we need to stay in it. We need not move out of it. And as I said, and there are a myriad of other reasons, but those are just some of the common ones that I can state to, and without having someone in front of me that's talking through that grief and letting me know what's going on. So thank you, Megan. I love the question. That was just perfect and so timely, so timely. So I just want to thank each one of you for watching today and tuning in. And even if you're not in grief yourself, you probably know someone who is. And that's a part of our moving our collective consciousness in a different way in handling grief, is for each one of us to become armed with information. I don't like armed. It sounds like we're going off to war, but to enlighten ourselves with as much information as we can about grief, learning how to be in grief, to be with grief ourselves, examining our own responses to grief, and then being comfortable enough that, yes, we can start conversations on grief. And remember this, that with us having these conversations and people listening to us, we are helping to move that needle that I talked about at the very beginning. We are helping to move that needle on grief. So know that if you're talking about grief, giving somebody else permission to talk about grief, that's how we change, one by one. It's like that big skyscraper at night that starts to light up. Like one light comes on and one floor is lit, then another until the whole building is fully illuminated. That's what we're doing. We're lighting up one by one by one until we are all fully enlightened and illuminated with our knowledge. So I just thank you, and I see Megan. Oh, thank you, Megan. Megan says, great program as usual. Yay! And we're just getting the spot ready we're holding a place for Megan to come on and be on the show. Okay, so don't be surprised when you see Megan. Okay. And I was just going to say, I am just so honored that you showed up today. And so honored that you made you number one today. So I thank you for that. And I want to thank New Thought Media for having this platform where I can talk about the one topic that is not discussed in our lives, and that's grief. So I thank New Thought Media for having the vision to say, yeah, this could expand our network program. So thank you to New Thought Media. Thank you to my Purdue Sir Joe Rothenberger, who is always on the scene but behind the scene. And he's going to be in front of the camera one of these days, giving his story as well. So I thank you so much. And I just want to say, check out the programming here on New Thought Media Network. Reverend Webb has a program on Sunday night, and I believe it's a prosperity consciousness program. Joe, do you have, the Miracle of Prosperity with Reverend Jim Webb. And I've had him on my program. If you want to go back and look at some of the archive shows on YouTube, just go to Your Doula for Grief and you'll find all the archived shows. And Jim Webb was on several times. And the other is Fireside Chat with Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm telling you, doesn't he look serious in that picture? He's the funniest guy you'll ever meet. He could be a stand-up comic, but he has some really, really enlightening and deep conversations on his show on Friday nights, on his Friday night Fireside Chat. I'm thanking him for that. And then we have Reverend Brock with Spiritual Toolkit. Reverend Brock Ford with Spiritual Toolkit. I've listened to his program as well. So there's some great programs on New Thought Media. Just keep checking in and tuning in. And as I said, thank you for joining me today. And what I want to end with is just asking yourself 2 questions. Just want you to go and look in the mirror and look yourself in the eye. And with great sincerity and compassion for yourself, just want you to ask yourself, what do I need today? What do I need today? And whatever comes up, I want you to answer that. I want you to gift yourself with that. And one other question that you can use, if you want to do some journaling or writing after this, or in first thing in the morning, just ask yourself, what does my soul want me to know today? What does my soul want me to know today? So write that down. So thank you, and just be well, namaste, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy. Ciao.